Someone tried to break into my house and they knew my identity. What should I do? This all started a couple days ago, July 5th, where I'd get a random call from FedEx around 10 p.m. where they would ask me for my name and address, which they already knew. I gave it to them thinking it might be a package that was lost and somehow found its way back to my home. Hindsight, I should have known FedEx doesn't deliver past 8 p.m. here in Canada. I thought nothing of it till I got another phone call saying they can't find my unit number and asked me to come out to the roundabout nearby my place. My dad thought it was weird, so he patrolled the area to find these people. My dad did around 4 laps. The first lap there wasn't anything there, but then I got curious and joined him for the second lap. Yet again, nothing. I went back into my home and my dad did a third lap around the house. He found a grey SUV in the corner and confronted them. They told my dad they aren't the delivery person, and my dad left to do another confirmation check. As he was doing this last lap, that same SUV wasn't there. The next day, July 6th, around 6 p.m., 11 p.m., we hear a doorbell ringing, and I went down to check. And it was 2 individuals around the ages of 20. They knew my name and was calling out for me. I thought it was weird because I've never seen them before. I didn't feel safe, so I didn't pursue them. They kept coming over and over again, so we called the police and talked about what we should do. The cops told me to contact them if this happens again. The next day, July 7th, it was very quiet and nothing weird happened, so we thought the worst has ended and just went on with my day. The next day, July 8th, it was the same quietness, but when the time approached 11 p.m., my security camera spotted an individual with a mask on taking video of my current house. This was the breaking point. We contacted the police and informed them about this weird behavior. Just when you thought it was over. I was casually in the living room around 3 a.m. the same day, July 8th. I heard something thunking outside my balcony. I thought it could be anything and didn't mind it till it thunked again. I went to the balcony to go see what I was hearing. Then it clicked. I was face to face with the intruder. I started screaming for help and my family came down to check out the commotion. Thank God I checked the balcony that day. Who knows what else could have happened. Today is July 9th, and I haven't got a wink of sleep in thinking of the terror that I've faced. Am I one of the targets of a home invasion? How did they get my name? What do they want from me? I think my friend poisoned me and wants to eat me. I know this sub is usually just for scary stories and encounters, but I could really use some advice too. And I didn't know where else to post, and feel this suits this sub best. I, 19F, have had this friend, 19M, who I've known for many years, but was never close to. Recently, coming back from uni for summer, I went back home and stayed with my parents. There isn't much to do in my hometown except for hang out with friends and smoke, drink. So that's exactly what I did. While hanging out with my friends, I ran into the guy. I'll call him Saf for the purpose of this story. Saf has always seemed like a chill guy, typical 19-year-old man who studies business, living off of daddy's money since he comes from a wealthy family. As soon as we reconnected, we developed a closer friendship. He started hosting at his house, and my friends and I would go. When we smoked, he frequently brought up his fantasies of killing and eating someone. Of course, all of us being high would just laugh it off and considered it to be shock humor. However, he would never laugh while making these jokes. My friends had agreed he was pretty creepy, but we chalked it up to him just being too high. That is, until I started hanging out with him alone. We have a pretty small friend group that hangs out nearly every day. Saf and I stay up pretty late after everyone's left, usually until the sun comes up, which is how we got so close, because it would just be us at the end of the night and he would drive me home. On one of those nights, we were with a group of friends and decided we would all take edibles. For context, we were at Saf's house. 3 hours into it, when all of us are pretty gone, Saf starts going on a tangent about how it would feel to pluck someone's eyeballs out. He starts going into detail, and my other friend asked him to stop talking because it was making him uncomfortable. He always did this, but this time he really went into detail, explaining imagery, etc. Someone quickly changed the subject, and the night went on. About an hour later, my friend and I decided to look at the fridge for the munchies. As we look in the fridge for shit to eat, I feel someone put their arm around my neck, and I feel something quite heavy putting pressure on it. and as I look down, I realize Saf is holding a knife to my neck and holding my other friend with his other free hand. "What are you guys doing?" he asks. Keep in mind, we are all very high, so I start laughing it off and going along with what I thought was a joke. As my friend and I answer him, I realize he still hasn't pulled the knife off my neck, and that he was in fact holding it closer, to the point where I started to cough. Thankfully, the knife was quite dull, but it was still a massive kitchen knife. As soon as I realize he isn't letting go, I let out a scream. Nothing too loud or alarming. I was hoping he would also assume I was joking. He then lets go and walks away. The night goes on and we quickly forget about what happened. Saf offers to drive my friend and I home at the end of the night when everyone's left. My friend and I didn't have a car or money, so we accepted. On the drive home, stopped at a red light. He made my friend get out and check if the car was damaged because he had seen someone bump it while driving. Neither my friend nor I saw this, but my friend got out the car anyway and checks. As he tries to open the back door to get in the car again, Saf locks it. The light has now turned green, and thank God it was only 5 a.m. because there were only 2 or 3 other cars around. But they all started beeping and swerving as to not hit the car or my friend. As my friend and I are yelling for him to open the door, he drives a couple inches forward, putting the tire on my friend's foot. He then unlocks the door and watches my friend yell at him for being trapped under the tire. I look over to Saf, and I see him hysterically laughing and putting the car in reverse for my friend to get in. Once we get back onto the road, he starts driving like crazy, which isn't unusual for him. But he was a lot more reckless that night or morning. Now, before you all judge me for staying friends with such a weird and dangerous man, keep in mind it had never been this bad before. He just said really weird shit every now and then, but I honestly thought it was an intrusive thoughts thing. I struggle with mental health and have the most vile and weird intrusive thoughts, so I thought that was it. And as for the night I have mentioned, we were all really high on edibles, so although I was very weirded out, I thought he must have just been super high, and so was I, so I convinced myself I was overreacting. Then one night we go to a party together. We then got back in the car for an after party, but on the way realized it had been cancelled. Saf then asked me if I wanted to go back to his house, eat something, watch a movie and smoke. It was still really early in the night, so I agreed, knowing I wouldn't be asleep for a while. We pull up. He tells me to make myself comfortable and he's going to cook us some pasta. Do you see where this is going, LOL? So I sit down, turn on a movie and wait. He comes back out with the pasta and I eat almost all of it. And a few minutes into the movie, I start feeling very ill. I mention this to Saf, and he says it's probably just because I drank, but I only drank very little at the party, which was around 3 hours ago at this point, and haven't thrown up or felt nauseous from alcohol in years. As time goes on, I keep feeling worse and practically beg him to take me home. He refuses because he is in his house. Understandable. However, this is the first time he's declined taking me home. At this point, I get a really bad feeling along with the sickness, and my body decided I had to get out of there. I thankfully had some money with me, so I ordered a cab and went home. In the cab on the way home, I started vomiting out the window because of how much pain my stomach was in. I get home and I just collapse, but I'm unable to fall asleep because of how much pain I'm in. Then I start thinking about all the times he's mentioned the desire to kill someone and eat them. He always talked about how he would eat a girl's thigh because he believes it would be the juiciest. How he would only eat a girl and not a boy. Since that day, I've kept my distance, but I've been fighting with myself, internally asking, did I get poisoned or did I just drink too much? Is he a psychopath or just a little weird? I truly don't know, so PL's any advice is appreciated. As I've mentioned, I've been friends with him for years and developed a close relationship. And I do love him as a friend, just not enough to get eaten. Just as I was about to open my car door. I just got back from shopping and was parking my car. I was just about to open my door when for some reason I had an off feeling. I looked to my left and seen a woman with a hood standing a few feet away from me. When she seen me, she stopped walking towards me and backed up a few steps. I pretended to look through my purse, hoping she would know that I seen her and she would leave. She then went and hid behind my truck, so I couldn't see her. My car doors were locked, but I didn't know what side she was on. I waited about 2 more minutes and then I seen her run a few feet to the corner and hide beside a house. I kept looking back and kept seeing her peek her head out to see if I got out of the car. I called my dad and asked him if he can come to the car and help me walk home. He came running down the street with a bat, and the women left running. Always be aware of your surroundings. If I didn't look to my left, I would have been robbed or even worse. Creepy woman with the hood, let's not meet again. Don't pick up hitchhikers. I was going to post this in our creepy encounters, but I think it may tread the line with this group, so here I am. I, F52 at the time, was traveling by car to an out-of-town job assignment. I had stopped at a popular and busy gas station / travel stop. Okay, it was a Boosie's. To fill up the car, stretch my legs, use the restroom, and grab a snack. I was approached by a developmentally disabled woman who appeared to be in her mid-20s. She was looking for a ride to a town a couple of towns over. Her ride had abandoned her while she was in the restroom. She was a little upset. She didn't have a cell phone and didn't know any phone numbers, so I could call someone for her. I checked with the employees at the store, and they said that she had been there for an hour looking for a ride because she said her friends left her while she was in the restroom. I then made the decision to do something I've never done before: offer a stranger a ride. I wasn't going to the town she wanted to go to, but I was heading in that direction, and I told her I could drop her off at the grocery store in the next town where I would be turning off to go to my destination. The grocery store was always busy, and it was very likely she'd have an easier time getting a ride to where she wanted to go. Also, she'd be 5 miles away from where she wanted to go instead of 25 miles, and she'd have an easier time walking that distance if she had to. This was agreeable to her, and we set off. Right away, I noticed a van following us. I tried to lose the van, but it kept pace. Meanwhile, the woman wanted to play with my phone. I told her no, it wasn't a toy, it was for work, and I moved it out of her reach. The van speeds up and starts to get closer. The woman suddenly remembers her boyfriend's phone number, and we need to call him. I can't use my phone while driving. This was pre-car sync voice-activated operation. And I was approaching the outskirts of the business district of next town, and no cell phone use while driving signs everywhere. I told her, "We're almost to the grocery store. We can call him from the parking lot." She becomes agitated and yells, "No, you have to take me home." I told you I can't do that. I'm not going there. It's in the opposite direction of where I need to go, and I'm expected soon. We'll call him from the parking lot. She becomes more upset and frustrated. The van is getting closer. I pull into the grocery store parking lot. It's about 4 p.m. The grocery store is busy. I pull up in front of the store and ask for her BF's number. She can't remember his number. She won't get out of the car, she's arguing with me, and the van is pulling into the parking lot. There is a sheriff's deputy parked nearby, and I roll down my window and signal that I need to speak to him. He walks over and asks me what's going on. I tell him where I met the woman, and now she won't get out of the car, and under my breath, I tell him the van has been following us. The deputy tells the woman, "She brought you where you asked her to. It's time for you to leave her car now." She slowly gets out of the car, and I ask once more for her BF's number, and she says, "You're crazy. I don't have a boyfriend. Oh, look, there are my friends now." And she points to the damn van. The deputy and I share a look, and he says, "Give me your contact info. I can delay them for about 20 minutes while I check their license and registration and lecture them about abandoning a special needs adult. You get out of here and I'll check on you before my shift is over, and don't pick up any more hitchhikers." I left and went on to my destination. He called me to make sure I got to where I was going and told me that they were keeping an eye on the van and its owner. He told me he also contacted a colleague at the sheriff's department in the county where I was working, and that she would contact me in a day or two. While I was on assignment there, I spoke to 2 deputies and a detective about the woman and the van. No one ever told me anything about them, but they were very interested in them. My nightmare is one day I'll turn on a true crime show and see a report about this woman and her gang robbing and killing people. So, woman looking for a ride at the travel stop. Let's not meet again.